Okay, very good. Let's see. All right, hopefully you all can see me now. Hi everyone, welcome to our session tonight, getting ready for the high holidays. As you all know, Anshai Torah is normally our home for the high holy days. And this year we are bringing Anshai Torah into our homes with our Anshai at Home program. So I think you'll find the services will be very familiar. There's really a lot of work that went into preparing them for this year. And now the purpose of tonight's session is to help you prepare yourself to have a really good and meaningful experience with our services online this year. So, you know, as I mentioned, the service is going to be, I think you'll find very familiar with what you've seen in the past. The big difference, of course, is there won't be other congregants there with you. And for that reason, I want to just mention before we talk about the services in particular, that I would encourage you to try and attend some of the other programs that we have around the high holidays. Hopefully you've seen the notes about our Ne'ilah transformation, which is an opportunity to schedule a time and come into the sanctuary for some blessings and various other special things. We have Tashlich on next Sunday afternoon outside with the shofar blowing. And there's going to be other in-person opportunities, especially as we get closer to Sukkot. So I would, you know, ask that everyone who can and who feels comfortable avail yourselves of those things and some of our Zoom sessions as well, because that's a chance for us to get together and see each other, which is one of the reasons we're doing this one tonight or this afternoon. So I'm going to share my screen and show an agenda real quick, and then we will get to hear from Kol Rina. All right, so hopefully I will do this right. Okay, I hope you all can see that on your screen. Preparing for the High Holy Days, that's our meeting tonight. And this is the agenda that we have for you. We're going to go through it relatively quickly. We want to be very respectful of everyone's time. So like I said, we're going to hear a little snippet from Kol Rina as a preview of some of the great work that they did putting together some of the musical programming for the High Holiday services. And then we'll get to hear from Haim Vasquez, our executive VP, and Rabbi Weinberg will introduce him. And then I'll talk about what we're going to be doing with the High Holidays online this year and take any questions that you may have. And then finally, we'll wrap up with the rabbinic teaching from Rabbi Kushnick and some remarks from Rabbi Weinberg. So that is our plan for this afternoon. And without further ado, let me share with you this video.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Beit Yisrael. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha, 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 Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta, otanu limadeta.
All right. Thank you, Kol Rina, for that. I am now going to turn it over to Rabbi Weinberg.
Thank you, Dan. Good afternoon, everybody. It's so nice to see you. Welcome to our special congregational meeting this afternoon. We hope everybody has had a good weekend. What a beautiful day. And as you could see, the members of Kol Rina have been working so very hard, and especially Joel Futterman has spent so much time preparing the material for all of these various recordings, mixing them, and enabling our production company to present them for all of us on the high holidays. So that was just a little taste of things to come, and I hope that you all can appreciate how much time and effort has gone into preparing for the holidays. Just a couple of brief remarks as I turn this meeting over to Haim in just a moment. It's in this week's Torah portion that Moshe says to Joshua, in anticipation of his need to turn over the role of leadership, he says in those words that we utilize time and again, Chazak ve'ematz. May you, Joshua, go forward with strength and courage as you assume the leadership reins of our people. It was Rabbi Jonathan Sachs who said, leadership demands two kinds of courage: the strength to take a risk and the humility to admit when a risk fails. I think that's a wonderful, insightful statement about the role of leadership. And I don't think there is any question that we have been blessed with 20 plus years of outstanding, dedicated, strong, and courageous leadership for our congregation. We all realize that we need that now as much as ever. And with somebody that has the talent that Dan has, we are so fortunate that he is in the role he is in today for all of us. And at the same time, Haim is right behind him as our executive vice president. I am sure that I speak for many, many members of the congregation that there are so many elements of our lives that we miss. This pandemic has reconstituted life as we know it. And one of those images that I miss is gathering with you on Shabbat, Friday night and Saturday morning. And one of those families that's almost present every Shabbat morning is Chaim's family. Chaim with Sarah, his wife, and his two precious little children, Eitan and Gila, remind us that we are blessed with so much youth in our congregation, and that youth is stepping forward to lead our congregation in the best of ways. Haim, it's my pleasure to introduce you and invite you to share the appeal with the congregation this afternoon.
Thank you, Rabbi. Dear friends, I'm going to take a few minutes tonight to talk to you about Anshai Torah's future, our future. A year ago, none of us could have imagined that we will go through the current situation. I hope that you and your family will have a wonderful start of 5781, even though we are living through times of uncertainty. Especially during these times, we need to feel the presence of each other, and a few places can provide that anchor, like our beloved Anshai Torah family. So many of us have the most inspiring memories of our shul. It was exactly 10 years ago. This summer, we dedicated our newest space and moved into our new addition. Thanks to the leading gift provided by the Beringer and Hyman families, our sanctuary, foyer, and educational spaces has enabled us to create so many fun memories. Although not soon enough, we will return to our beautiful space and enjoy the presence of everyone who hold that space dear. The Anshai Torah Yom Kippur Appeal is the primary fundraising effort in addition to membership dues. It's used to balance the financial needs of our synagogue. This year, we will not conduct an appeal during services. Instead, our high holiday appeal will extend through the month of Elul, culminating on Yom Kippur. I thank you in advance for enabling us to maintain the wonder that is defined by Anshai Torah. And please, rest assured, we will continue to build the synagogue we have always wanted to build. There has never been a year when we have not conducted an appeal on the high holidays. And this concerns me. This is one of the most important fundraisers for our shul. Yet, the current conditions have compelled us to consider an alternative setting, tonight's meeting. Please, help me set aside my concerns about this year's setting and respond with an overwhelming expression of support for the shul that we have always loved. The high holiday appeal is more important this year than ever before. As you can imagine, expenses do not stop adding up just because the building is closed for services. While we are controlling expenses to the best of our ability, your contribution provides the necessary support to bridge the gap. Rest assured, the COVID-19 task force, our executive team, our board of directors are working responsibly to ensure that Anshai Torah continues to be here for our members. With a fiscally conservative approach, providing solid financial footing, we look forward to a long, bright future for our Anshai Torah community. I want you to know that we have taken a number of steps to address the financial stress that this pandemic has created. Today, we have taken advantage of the government assistance loan we received. We deferred half a year of mortgage payments. We reduced staff hours and cut back on expenses wherever was possible. With the assistance of a number of our members, we are in the process of reviewing every element and aspect of our organization, and we are exploring additional measures such as refinancing our mortgage, pay cuts, enhancing our membership, and developing new programs to generate income. We are looking forward to be proactive in all considerations and ensuring the long-term health of our congregation to the best of our ability. As we face various challenges during this pandemic, financial and otherwise, we know that Anshai Torah is here for us. Throughout the outstanding leadership of Rabbi Weinberg and Rabbi Kushnick, we have maintained and continue to function with our daily minyanim, Kabbalat Shabbat services, introducing alternative Shabbat services, in addition to all normal life cycle events like baby namings, b'nai mitzvahs, weddings, funerals, and Shiva minyanim. During these times of uncertainty, we need each other more than ever before. As we face the current challenges, we are strengthened by you, our members. And we know that we can count on you as we look forward to 5781 and beyond by making a generous contribution to the high holiday appeal. Your participation is vital, and every dollar counts towards the maintaining the strength and vitality of our congregation. The Torah instructs us that it is a mitzvah, ma'aser, to set aside a portion of our income to support those institutions that provide our spiritual well-being. Especially during these times and during this year, please consider your contribution to Anshai Torah as an expression of ma'aser and fulfill the requirements stated in the Torah to ensure the well-being of our most precious spiritual organization. Please, look at the comment section and you will find the link to make your pledge online. Alternatively, you're receiving the mail a pledge card just the same as you were receiving before during Yom Kippur services. If you prefer so, please fold down a tab and return it to the synagogue in the enclosed envelope. Now I ask you, if you're financially able, please consider increasing your gift from last year. On behalf of the board of directors and staff, I thank you in advance for your commitment to the future of Anshai Torah. I know that you and your family are as eager as Sarah, Eitan, Gila, and I to be back together in our sanctuary, to participate in our religious, educational, and communal experiences, and to continue creating those beautiful memories with our Anshai Torah community. To conclude, I urge you, be there for Anshai so Anshai can be there for you. Shana Tova.
Thank you, Chaim. I'm going to go ahead and share this as well, which is a link, another link to the same page, just to make it easier for you. If you want to do it now, of course, you can always go on to the page later There's even a QR code which you can scan with your phone if you have this in front of you on your computer, for example. I'm just going to put it here for a few moments just to give you a chance, and then we'll continue with our program.
Just take a picture. I think you have to press the.
And by the way, Rabbi, thank you for your kind words earlier. We appreciate that.
You're welcome, Dan. It's my pleasure.
And a good partnership. Let's see. Oh, yes. You can also always find this on the homepage. So if you just go to anshaitorah.org, it's right there on the front page. And while we're talking about the homepage, I will mention too, there's a link there for information about High Holiday tickets. So if there's anyone you know, not a member obviously of Anshai Torah, who's looking for a place for the holidays, and of course it's a virtual place this year, but if they're looking for a service to join and they'd like to participate in our services, please have a look at that as well. All right, so let's go ahead now and let's talk about the format of the services for this year. And I'm just going to stop sharing for a second and okay. So you may be wondering what you're going to need in order to attend services, excuse me, attend services this year. And so let me start by saying that you should try to find a quiet place in your home for the services, that you can make kind of your special place for participating in services. This isn't the kind of thing that you want to do from your car or, you know, as you're walking around and making dinner and, you know, or breakfast, I guess, in the kitchen. We really want to try and relive the experience of services. So make at least a dedicated space where you can attend services with your family. From a technical perspective, you need a computer, and the services will be broadcast through a web page. So all you need is a computer with a web browser. If you have a laptop, that's great. If you have a tablet like an iPad, that will work too. But since these services, you know, are a few hours long, I would encourage you to use a computer if you have one. I wouldn't recommend watching on a cell phone, for example. It's really not going to be, you know, a good experience if you do that. The other thing you need, of course, is a copy of the Machzor. So today is actually the last day to fill out the form online if you haven't already, to borrow a Machzor from the synagogue. And we will have those available for pickup this week on Tuesday and Wednesday. So you can schedule with the office a time to pick those up if you haven't already. And there's also an opportunity to get an electronic version of the Machzor so that you can share that with your family, and anyone who has that electronic version will be able to follow along, again, on a computer or, you know, a tablet or a phone. If you have better eyes than mine, you can try it on a phone. But you also obviously may want a larger screen for that. So, you know, just to reiterate, right, you need a place in your home to do it, you need a computer or other device, and you need a copy of the Machzor. As far as getting on for the services, we are going to send out a link in the next few days that will actually a number of links. So one link will be for the adult services. I think there may be a separate link for the children's services, but you'll get that information in your email this week. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure you have it before Friday night. And then please don't share that link with anyone. That's for our members and those who've purchased tickets. And of course, you can share it with your adult children who are living at home or away at college, but please don't share it outside of your immediate family. And we'll also this week be sending out the link for those who have not purchased, but those who have ordered a copy of the electronic Machzor. That will be available as well. So once you have that, I would recommend that when you have the link for the Moxor and the link for the services, that you keep those handy, make sure you have them so they will be the same, it will be the same link that's used throughout the services. So for Rosh Hashanah, day 1, day 2, for Kol Nidre, for Yom Kippur, all of those services that we do online will have the same link. So make sure you keep that and have it handy. We'll send it out a couple of times to make sure you have it. But keep that handy. And then what you'll do is click the link, and I'm going to share my screen again to show you what this looks like. Let's see if I can find the right screen here. Sometimes my computer cooperates and sometimes not. Okay, so this is just a mock-up right now. So this may look a little bit different, but I want to give you an idea what you're going to see. So when you click that link from the email, you'll come to a page like this, and it will ask you for your first and last name. We're actually most likely not going to have a PIN, so all you'll need to do is put in your name, agree to the terms and conditions, and click the big enter button in the middle. That is literally it. There's no applications to install. There's nothing to download. You just have to go to the website, put in your name, and click enter. And if for some reason you get stuck or something goes wrong, there will be live support agents available, and you can click this link and get help. I really don't anticipate that you'll need the help, but that option is available. Yes, and so this site, I'll talk briefly a little more about it. It's hosted by a company called Sport5 that we have partnered with for the services this year. And they're doing an incredible job. I think you're really going to be impressed with how this comes together. So once you click the enter button, you'll see a page like this. And again, the look of it may change a little bit, but the general idea is that you'll have a page with a video screen in the middle, and that's where you'll see and hear the services. And it's going to be a live view of the service. So hopefully everyone has the schedule, and we're going to send out information with more detail as we send out the links this week. But basically, for example, the Rosh Hashanah services start, I believe it's 9:15 on Saturday, when the service will actually go live at that time. So if you join at 9:15 or a little bit before that, you'll see a page that will tell you that the service is about to begin, and then you'll be entered into the service, and everyone will be on there and watching. And if you join later in the morning, you'll come in, it's like a live service, so you'll come in when this, whatever time you join. So if you come in at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, you're not going to see the very beginning of the service. You'll see the part that you've joined at that time live. So just to make sure everyone understands that. As I said, we'll be sharing some of the details of the schedule like we do every year so that you'll know when the different parts of the service are, especially for those longer morning services. So what I'm showing you here, we're talking about kind of the adult service. And I mentioned that this platform is hosted by Sport5. This is Carla Rosenberg. She's the daughter of a couple of our members, Ian and Lorraine Rosenberg. She has been super duper helpful. She has done a lot of work for us, including putting some of this together today so that I could share it with you on a Sunday. So she's been terrific. And just to let you know, they do a lot of things obviously for sporting events, but we found that this is a really terrific platform, believe it or not, for religious services too. So I hope you'll agree that it's a really, really sharp presentation, and it's very, very easy to use. So I mentioned these are basically the adult services, but of course we also have services for the kids, and you'll get it if you're in the, if you have kids and you're looking to join a family service. There are two, for Rosh Hashanah, day 1 and day 2, and for Yom Kippur, there's 2 services that are also going to be available to stream. One of them is called the Children's Service, and that's aimed at toddlers to pre-K age. And another is the Family Service, which is aimed at kids kindergarten to 6th grade. And anyone else, I guess, who's a kid at heart and really loves, I know there's a few of you out there, big fans of Josh Warshawski, Rick Wrecked, you're welcome to watch those as well with your kids, or pretend you have young kids if you like. But we would love to have you at the adult service and as well. And these children's services that are they're going to be live at the same time as the adult service. So for example, 9:15 in the morning, Rosh Hashanah, you'll be able to join either one of those. And then if you missed or want to replay the service, the children's services in particular, those will be available on our YouTube channel in that afternoon. So if it's Rosh Hashanah day 1, for example, on that Saturday, next Saturday, 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it'll be live on our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to replay that with your kids. So in case they're napping in the morning or something, they've missed it, you have an opportunity to replay. So I see there are some things in the chat which we'll come to the questions soon if you have some, but I do want to, let's see, mention a couple of other things before we do that. Let me see, oh, we'll come back to that in a minute. So that was the children's service. Let me actually show you what this looks like. So here's another view. Hopefully you can see this page. Like I said, there may not be a pin, but you'll be asked for your first and last name and agree. This is just a demo site, but if this is what it's going to look like, not exactly like this, it'll be a service, but just to give you an idea, this is how the look and feel is. And I think I had the sound off, so hopefully you guys didn't hear that, but that's what this looks like. So I just wanted to give you a view of that. One other topic I want to cover before we get into any questions that you may have is the question, what if you want to gather around on the couch and watch, the services on your TV, which might be a very convenient way to watch it. So I'll say a few words about that. I know some of you are more, technically astute than others. For those of you who are really not comfortable with technology, I am going to say, don't try to watch it on your TV. Just stick with a laptop or computer or some other device. If you have a TV where you can AirPlay or Chromecast or something like that, where you can send it, say, from an iPad or from your phone and broadcast it onto your TV, and if you've done that before, there's smart TVs that allow you to do that. There's Apple TV, Roku, Fire Sticks, other devices like that. That's a really good way to do it. Remember, this is in a browser, so there's no special app. There's nothing you can install on your TV. But if you want to kind of cast it from your phone or from a tablet to your TV, that is doable. Another option that you have, I'll try to slow down. I'm probably speaking too fast here, but so one option is to kind of wirelessly broadcast it to your TV. Another option is if you have an HDMI cable set up to your TV, you can connect a laptop. That's something that, for example, I do a lot of times with my family on Friday nights for the services. You can connect your laptop and you can watch it that way if you know how to set that up. So that's a second option. And a third option, for those of you who are really tech savvy, if you have a smart TV and it has a web browser built into it, and if you understand what I'm saying right now, then you're probably one of those people who may be able to go into that web browser and put in the URL that we're going to send you. It's just a short URL, and you'll be able to potentially to join the service from there. I do want to tell you, though, that I would, if you're going to go that route, to try it in advance when you get the link, to make sure that your TV supports it. Not every TV will be able to necessarily play the video. So I would, if you are going to try to play it on a smart TV, I would have a backup plan. So I just wanted to cover that. I know that's a question that some of you have. And I will pause now and take any questions. And let me see, I think Robin has been monitoring the chat here in case there were questions.
Yeah, there was only one question and somebody answered it already.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Does anyone have any other questions about how to join the services? Anything that I've missed?
Quick question. You mentioned recording the children's services and then having them available on the YouTube channel for the other general service. will that be like delayed, recorded, and then played or be available later for people who might be delayed?
Oh, sorry, you're asking about the general service for the adults?
Correct.
I don't know if someone else is on who can answer that, maybe Rabbi or Joel, if you're on. I think we really want to encourage everyone to watch when it's on at the regular times.
Yeah, on last conversation with this, we discussed making it available like sometime like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. After we've had an opportunity, after the services have had an opportunity to run their full length.
For the regular service also, Joel?
Yeah, with the regular service.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. There was a question here, so I may be jumping around. I know, Jacob, you had a question. Let's come to Jacob's question in a moment. Pam was asking about college kids. Yes, definitely college kids can watch. So you just, if they're not at home or if they prefer to watch on their own, that in their room or whatever, that's perfectly fine. So there's no limit on how many of your family members can tune in. Just you can share the link and information with them. And let me see. Oh, there was another question. Ofer, you had a good question. I didn't really cover this. So this service this year, it's a one-way feed. Okay, so you'll be able to watch the service, but there isn't going to be any video feedback the other direction, or you won't be able to see other people like you do on Zoom. There's no chat feature or anything like that. And this is obviously during Yontiv, and we wanted to limit the amount of technological, interactions during the high holidays as we could. Obviously, there's no way to avoid it completely this year. We didn't feel that that would be safe. So, but yeah, it's basically very similar to our, any of you who've joined our web live streams on the Shabbat, for Shabbat mornings, it's similar to that, but not on YouTube. And Jacob, did you want to ask your question live? I think you had a question about the outdoor services. Or Rabbi, would you like to comment on the morning service that you shared on Friday information about? Oh, you're on mute, Rabbi.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
I sent an email out to the congregation on Friday with the traditional Shabbat update, indicating that for those people who would like to come to the shul early in the morning on both days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we would have a service that was starting, I think, at 7:30 in the morning, and it would be over before the online production begins. So it will not be a complete service, but it will be really special for people that would like to join and feel the sense of community. Mask will be required of everyone. There will be social distancing, but we'll be set up to be able to daven together, and it will be an abridged service for sure. We will not be able to do everything. There certainly won't be a sermon at that service, but it will be outdoors, and it'll be really, as I said, in many ways, a once in a lifetime opportunity to gather if people would like to join us. So it was done to enable people to have the sense of community and at the same time not conflict with the online production that we're so thankful, really thankful to our production team, Carla Rosenberg and her support staff, and everybody at the synagogue who's worked so hard to enable us to put this product together for the entire congregation. So I hope that answers the questions, and I'd certainly be happy to address anything else any other similar questions, I guess, associated with those services. They will be offered all 3 mornings, both days of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, weather permitting. And I anticipate they will be in the area that we will actually conduct the service in the sukkah. So it will be a little bit protected, so we won't have the sun bearing down on us.
Rabbi Cindy is asking on the chat if folks need to RSVP for those morning.
Well, I already received RSVPs. It would be good to get to, I will ask people to RSVP again to ensure that we have planned properly in terms of, meaning we have enough machzorim and chairs available, but we already have a minyan, so we will be able to conduct that service.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Let me address a couple of the other questions I saw in the chat. So one is, so these services in the morning will be, first of all, it's one way. You don't have to worry about muting and unmuting because it's just, you'll be watching the service quietly from your seat, as it were, in your home, however, not the sanctuary. And the afternoon service or the repeat of the services that will be available online in the afternoon that Joel and I spoke about, those will not be live. So if you watch it, those you can start anytime. So the replay of it will be available if you want to start it at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, that's fine. Of course, we encourage you to watch them, during the day of Yom Tov, but they'll be available. So those, especially for the kids, you can watch anytime, you can pause, you can, go back and so on. So that will be available. Pam had a good question about the service, and Rabbi, you could probably say more than me, but my understanding is these were going to be fairly full services, but slightly shorter than normal because there's not all of the mechanics that are normally involved in terms of people moving around here and there and whatnot. So that's where, we will have a more detailed schedule, like I mentioned, that we will probably end an hour or two earlier than normal, would you say, Rabbi?
In some cases, yes. Basically, first of all, I think the way Dan just characterized it was very well done. We're starting a little later, we're ending a little earlier. We have truncated the services to some extent, but all in all, I think the feel, I trust, will be very much like our service, but it's not going to be a service that is 30% of what we normally would do. It's going to feel like this is who we are, this is what we do, and we tried to make wise choices. As you can imagine, it was one choice after another that we had to make decisions about. But I think it's pretty remarkable what Carla has enabled us to do, and I trust it will be well received by everybody.
Well, Rabbi, there's one last question in the chat. I think we do need to move on, and we can always address other questions offline. But the question about Yizkor on Yom Kippur, I think, well, I can answer the first part of the question, and maybe I can probably answer both parts. When will Yizkor be held? We will give you the detailed times between now and Yom Kippur, but it will be held. Will a live option be given? I think the answer is no, as if you mean people gathering together live. It will be a live broadcast of it online, the same as the other services.
That's correct. Yes,
yeah.
We will be sending out a detailed schedule of the services, letting people know what time Shacharit will begin, what time the Torah service will begin, what time Yizkor will begin. And we will be sending out the schedule for Rosh Hashanah on Monday or Tuesday, and Yom Kippur the following week. So like we normally do, we tell everybody exactly what time Yizkor will begin. And this time, since it's all pre-recorded, we should be pretty accurate with our schedule. So we'll look forward to communicating that to everybody in the next day or two.
Okay, I think we should move on. Thank you all for your questions, by the way, great questions. And I hope this was informative for you. we're going to now go to Rabbi Kushnick for a few words, and we will try to wrap up your afternoon here shortly. Rabbi Kushnick?
Great, thank you, Dan. It's so nice to see so many of you on our Zoom this afternoon, and I hope you're beginning to get as inspired for the holidays as I am. One of the pieces that we'll have the opportunity to do on Tashlich next Sunday afternoon, really 1 week from right now at 6:45 on the second day, is to hear the shofar blown in person as part of our Tashlich service that afternoon. And we call it Rosh Hashanah, but in fact, the Torah has other names for Rosh Hashanah, and one of them being Yom Truah, the day of sounding. And we all know that is the day of sounding the shofar. It's the pinnacle of our service in many ways, where we'll hear 100 blasts of the shofar split up into a variety of notes. And those notes, right, are Tekiyah, the one long normal blast, Shivarim, the 3 short blasts, and the 9 very, very truncated, boom, 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 blast of Truah. And the way the rabbis arranged these blasts is brilliant. They always do it, and when we listen to them next week, you'll hear it'll be a Tekiyah, some combination of a Shivarim Truah, or those alone, and always concludes again with Tekiyah. So it'll go Tekiyah, Shivarim, Tekiyah. And the way the rabbis constructed what this meant was brilliant. That we walk in whole, one whole note, and then we hear that blast of Shivarim, and we split up, we break apart. Either the feelings of what we've missed in the mark this past year, and then we hear 9 blasts of Truah, and we're shattered. How are we ever going to begin to move forward again? We feel down about ourselves in some ways. And then we conclude with Tekiyah, that the rabbis say, breaking ourselves apart and leaving it that way is not the goal. Rather, we hear Tekiyah, one blast again, putting it back together. And this year in particular, I know so many of us feel ready to move on from 5780. So many things have happened in our world. These past 6 months have been some of the most trying moments in many of our lives. And we may feel a bit broken as we walk into the high holidays this year. But I hope and pray that the meaning that the rabbis give us about the order of the shofar blast of Tekiyah, Shivarim, Truah, Tekiyah, and that as we hear those final Tekiyah, Gedolahs, both on Rosh Hashanah and then concluding Yom Kippur Ne'ilah, that we find a way to be put back together, both as individuals and also as a community, so that we can begin to move into 5781 with wholeness, with peace, and with the real chance that this year will be better than this past year. So I wish you all a Shana Tova Mituka, a happy and a sweet year, and may we all be back together very, very soon.
Thank you, Rabbi. Beautiful. So we will close with Rabbi Weinberg has a few final words for us, and then we'll wish you a good evening. Rabbi?
Thank you, Dan. One of the characteristics of this meeting, and in many ways the most important, were the words that Haim just shared with us. And during the course of our Torah reading, when the Jewish people, our predecessors, the Israelites, gathered to prepare to build the Mishkan, the tabernacle in the wilderness of Sinai, they're described their contribution to build the sanctuary was described with the beautiful phrase, Nadiv Lev. They gave with a willing heart. And it's a beautiful, beautiful phrase that we see and utilize again and again. There is something very, very special when we give back, when we recognize our blessings and we share that blessing with those elements of our life that we describe as valuable. And so as we anticipate concluding here this afternoon, I want to remind us all, each and every one of us, the rabbis even say that if somebody receives, if somebody is so poor that they need to take gifts, tzedakah from the community, they also need to give. Because that aspect of giving is so important to the human psyche, the human spirit. And we all need to be able to feel that if we can, one way or another. So I want to thank everybody for their willingness to support our shul, that continues to do all it can to be there for our community. And I want to conclude with just a word or two in addition to what Dan said regarding when we, a week ago, I spoke on Friday night about something called makom kavua, that when we come to shul, many of us, of course, Rabbi Kushnick and I sit on the bima, but so many of you have your own fixed seat. This feels home, like home to you. This is where you want to be. And it should always be like that. Your fixed seat that says, this is my comfortable location in the sanctuary. And we're all missing that, every one of us. And over the course of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the makom kavua has to be our own living room or our own office or someplace in the home. And I just want to encourage everyone to try to set aside space that is yours, that's special space for davening. I know I shared with a couple of you that when this pandemic started, I tried to make that space for myself at our kitchen table. And I realized after a while that I couldn't work there, eat there, and daven there. It didn't work. And I transferred my whole approach to my office, my desk where I'm sitting right now. And so I want to urge all of you to think this over the course of this next week, what can each of us do to create that space that says to us, it's different, it's holy. We're going to embark on a special journey. And part of that journey being as complete as it can be will be how we utilize space. Some of you, myself included, we need to hold a machzor in our hands. Some people are very happy reading the newspaper online. And so we've made the machzor online available. Some of us need a machzor in our hands. Please make sure you contact the shul. Don't forget to have your talit and your kippah ready to go. We feel yontif at home with the foods that we prepare, the table that's set with a beautiful tablecloth and the candles that are lit. Yontif means fresh flowers on the table. All of these pieces help us create the setting that will enable us to make the most of this time. As the rabbis tell us, create a mikdash ma'at in your home, on your table, a miniature sanctuary, so that you can feel what we felt as a people in the temple in Yerushalayim. So with that, I say to everyone, have a good evening, Erev Tov, Shana Tova, Tikatevu. May everyone be inscribed in the book of life and blessing and sustenance. And perhaps we feel it more this year than in many, many years. A year that will bring peace to the streets of our country and to our world. An end to this pandemic and a return to life as we knew it, but maybe with a few new lessons and new value systems that have touched us all as we've taken advantage of the time that has been thrust upon us. So thank you all. Dan, thank you for coordinating this meeting for us all. Erev Tov.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thanks everyone for joining. Really appreciate it.
Thank you
Shana
very much.
Tova.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you,
Good job.
Dan.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you, team. Great job.
Shana Tova.